Hi everybody, I'm FM Greeno and welcome along to something a little bit different on my channel today. We are going to be playing Help Will Come Tomorrow. This is a survival type game set in Russia, revolutionary Russia, in around 1917. The basic premise of the game is that there is a train carrying a very diverse group of passengers through Siberia. The train is attacked by local rebels who derail the train, start assassinating everybody on board, and a few survivors manage to escape into the woods. They're going to set up a camp there, try and survive until help arrives to save them. Let's get into the game. Russia. We were all passengers of this speeding train. Divided into classes, quarrelled, confined in our apartments. There was someone's story hidden in each of them. War, escape, adventure, fight for change. Subcutaneously, however, we all felt what the end of this journey could be. This is all very dramatic. Explosion there on the train. At that moment, all divisions disappeared. And our stories merged into one. And so here we are. So let's see what's going on right from the start. We've barely escaped death, one character says. Can you hear the shots? They're killing other survivors. This is a replay from Znamiensky Square. The Tsar supporters are opening fire to the proletarians. You are talking nonsense. They are just thugs or deserters. Don't talk so loudly because they'll hear us. That's very sensible. We've run a long way. I think we can take a rest here and the snow will cover our footprints. Okay, so here we are at the very start of the game. We have a bunch of 4 survivors who've hidden in this little wooded area here. I think the first thing we want to do is go and meet those guys. But before we do, I just want to give a shout out to the guy who introduced me to this game, Zilla Blitz, an excellent content creator, has a fabulous YouTube channel with all sorts of content on there, including Football Manager, Euro Truck Simulator, and this series. Very, very enjoyable content. I highly recommend you go and check it out. Anyway, let's get on to the guys we have here in our camp. So the first guy here is Sir Edward Grey. So we take a look at him. Obviously, he must be a British guy with the name Sir Edward Grey. And in here, we get some information about the character. Not very much. Obviously, we'll find out more as the game goes on. But we do know one thing about him already. He is valiant. This character has a really brave heart. Their morale constantly improves. Now that's good. Morale is very important in this game. The action points you get very much depend on personal and the camp morale. So that's good. His relationship with everyone in the camp looks okay. He doesn't think this young lady is going to be much good at anything, but he seems to trust her and like her, so that's good. He seems to get on alright with everybody else at this early stage. His story, this owner of an impressive and well-groomed mustache looks like a foreigner. Well, Sir Edward Grey, we've already established he's probably English. Who's next around here? Maria Petrenko, a revolutionary. Okay, we don't know anything about her personality yet. Her story, this young girl was the maid on the train you were going on. Okay, so she's obviously been working on the train. She doesn't seem to like this lad very much at all. Friendship 5. She doesn't think Sir Edward Grey's going to be much good at anything. But this young fellow she seems to think is alright. Okay, that's good to know. So who do we have here? Dmitry Sokolov. A member of the aristocracy. Okay. We know he is distrustful, so he doesn't believe the other characters are very good. So you can see here he doesn't trust Maria at all. Not too keen on him. A little bit better with Sir Edward Grey. Okay, and his story. This man looks like a high-ranking officer. There is determination in his eyes. Okay, so he may be good at performing tasks, perhaps, if he's determined. Last but not least, Sergei Ivanov. So again, we don't know much about him. Let's see how he gets on with everybody else. Okay, apart from this guy again, so he doesn't look like he's going to be terribly popular. His story: this sturdy boy looks like he had been on a military service recently. Okay, so maybe he's been in the military too, so they might be able to bond over that, perhaps, these guys. So, up here, at the top, we can see camp visibility, 15% currently. Now, it's very important that we keep that relatively low, because, of course, the more visible the camp is, the more chance there are of the thugs finding us. Now, that can be reduced. We can build a fence up here, which will help reduce the visibility of the camp, and it obviously depends on weather conditions, things like that. On the left here, we see the characters and the number of action points they have. Action points are used to perform tasks or to go out exploring. Also, we see here some information in these little circles here. So, Maria, it says, is in shock. Dmitri has a twisted ankle. Okay. So Edward Grey has indigestion. And Sergei is in shock. Okay, so we have to be a little bit careful with these because they lose morale while performing actions. Like I said, it's very important to keep morale as high as possible. Down the bottom here, we have our inventory. So that's split into like food, resources, and tools. So in the foodie kind of area now, we have some beans, we have some cigarettes, we have some vodka, and a little bit of water. Not too much. In our resources, not very much either. Some string and a rag. And obviously nothing in our tools. Now the aim of the camp area here is we need to try and improve it, build it so that we can survive better, really. So there are 5 different areas. The campfire, obviously that's going to provide us with heat. That's going to enable us to cook meals. A workshop area here where we can make tools and traps and process animals. Quarantine point. I think that's going to be important for us to get underway fairly quickly, particularly if Dmitri here has a twisted ankle. That's going to be our little medical area. Like I say, up here, this is the fencing kind of area, the palisade. And down here to the left, we have the shelter area, which is where we can build like a tent kind of thing. Allow people to rest a little bit. Obviously, some people are going to get more tired than others as the game goes on, so we need to allow them to rest. On the first day, we are not allowed to go on any expeditions out of the camp. Obviously, it's too dangerous because the rebels are all around everywhere. So, on the first day, we just need to stay around here. So, the first thing I think we're going to do is to try and clear some of the snow away from these areas and see if we can find any resources around the camp. So, to remove the snowbank, let's get Sir Edward Grey up here first, perhaps. And we click on here to unsnow, and he's done that. It's affected his morale a little bit. That dropped down by 10 points. He's found some things under here, some needles, some rocks, some sticks under the snow, a little bit of bark. So those are all going to be useful for us as we go through the rest of the tasks. So he's dependent. Every day when the character performs a given type of action first, they lose morale. Okay, so we don't want to be giving him tasks first then. Fair enough. So we come out of here. So that area now where the campfire is not covered in snow. So let's go around the camp and do this with the various people. Let's get Dmitri up here now, see if he can do this. He has. You can see on the left-hand side here, both Sir Edward Grey and Dmitri have lost an action point by coming up here and clearing the snow. More snow to get rid of up here. So let's send Sergei up here. So that affected his morale. He went down by 10 points. But he's found some bits and bobs under the snow as well. Okay, so this character is strong and get tired more slowly. Okay, so that's good. So he won't need to rest quite so much as some of the others, perhaps. We're getting through this unsnowing process slowly but surely. Send Maria next. So her morale went down by doing this as well. What has she found? Some bark, a few more sticks, a couple of stones, nothing too exciting. Okay, so Maria is weak. She gets tired more quickly. Okay, well that balances out Sergei then. And what else can we do here? We have this one last area to take the snow away from. So let's send our friend Dmitri here again. He's the only one who didn't lose morale when he was performing his tasks earlier, so get him to do that one. Okay, so we've now, if we take a look here, we've now got a few bits and bobs in our inventory, stuff that we can actually use to build and manufacture things. So the first thing I think we really ought to do is make a campfire. That's going to obviously be important to try and keep people warm. So down here, this tells us the resources we're going to need. So we have 10 stones, we only need 1. So we also need some more structure. Well, we'll use some more stones then. 2 of those. And what do we need here? Some wood. So we either need 4 big branches, well, we only have 1, 8 sticks, or 8 needles. I think we'll use the sticks for this one. And who are we going to bring down to do this? Maybe we'll get Maria and Sergei, see if they want to work together. So they're not that fond of each other, but I think that will get better over time, hopefully. Particularly as they start to improve their relationship. Both of their morales took a big hit there, though. That's something we're definitely going to have to keep an eye on. Okay, so Sergei is a handyman. So all camp structures built and developed by him have a higher quality. Okay, that's good to know. So he might be worth keeping around the camp for doing little jobs and building, etc. So let's think about the next thing we want to do. Maybe we do want to make a water filter if we can. But we'll take Maria out because she's not doing the best in terms of morale and she gets tired quicker. And maybe we'll bring Sergei back down here and we'll get him to work with Sir Edward Grey. Again, not perfectly fond of each other at this point, and see if we can build this water filter. We do have a rag, we do still have some wood available, so let's see if we can build this water filter. Obviously water is very important, they need it to drink, but it also comes in useful for cooking food, making hot beverages, etc. So now you can see down here we have this water filter built. So I think what we will do, we are going to get someone to filter some water. And maybe we'll get... Who do we want to do this? Let's get our friend Dmitri here. He can come down and do this. So Dmitri, filter some water please, buddy. I can do better. What does that mean? He's a perfectionist. He prefers to do things precisely. The quality of their construction is higher and often gains credit, while their morale increases when making solid structures. Unfortunately, morale drops during the makeshift action, and after each small action, they have a chance to waste additional points. Okay, so we want to get him involved in building structures, not so much little tasks around the camp. I've got a feeling we might want him to be going out on expeditions anyway, so... Okay, so in terms of morale, one thing that you can do to try and improve this is to get people to come around the campfire for a bit of fraternization. So the only 2 with any action points left here are Maria and Sir Edward Grey. Let's get them to come up to the fire and have a little chat, and we'll see how that affects their morale. So it actually sent Maria's down. Goodness me, her camp morale went up, but her personal one went down. If we take a look at her now, she's tired already and in shock. Her morale is already down to 35. Goodness me, that is quite low. We have 70 here for Dmitri, 55 for Sir Edward Grey, and also 30 here for Sergei. Okay. Now we can actually improve their morale a little bit. There's nothing that improves your morale more than a crafty smoke. So we do have 3 cigarettes, so maybe we'll give Sergei and Maria a smoke right now. Okay, and there's not much else we can really do today. No one's hungry, no one's thirsty yet, so we don't need to distribute any of the very limited resources we've got. We do need to put a little bit of fuel onto the fire. So let's do this now. We have some pine cones here, so we can put some of that on there. So you'll notice the camp visibility has increased a little. Let's put a bit of bark on there too. 15% I think is okay for now. Camp visibility has gone up to 35% now. I don't really want it to go any higher than that on a very clear day. So that'll do. There's enough heat there, I think, to keep them going through the night. Now what we do now, once we've done everything we want to do during the day, we come up here to the top right hand corner and we end the day, and that'll take us into a nighttime kind of mode. Everyone's sat around the fire and they chat over a couple of subjects. So let's go and see what we have for them to talk about now. So there are 5 different options here for them to talk about. Sir Edward introduction, let's seek a better shelter, Maria's introduction, crash and slaughter, and let's wait for the patrol. At this point, I'm going to try and attempt to put some accents onto these guys, some voices to distinguish between them, so we'll see how that goes. Now, what shall we start with here? Let's start with crash and slaughter. We were saved from the disaster and avoided the slaughter. It's unthinkable. Do you know if anyone else has survived? They took us by surprise. It was a well-organized operation. The attackers had dynamite and used it not only to derail the train, but also blew up the car in which war veterans were traveling. They knew where to hit. And then they shot the survivors without mercy. If someone has survived, they probably holed up in the woods as we did. We must stay together until help arrives. We are in the middle of the Siberian taiga, without appropriate clothes and food, surrounded by thugs going after us. How much longer can we survive in such conditions? 1, 2 days at the most? In that case, let's hope that help will come tomorrow. Nice tie-in there with the name of the game. Okay, so that conversation sent the camp morale up, you'll have noticed a little bit. So, perhaps it's a good idea for us to meet one of the characters now. Let's see what Dimitri has to say for himself. The situation is as follows. The enemy outnumbers you, is better armed, and knows the area. Alright, so we now know about him. He's a warmonger. He likes when something is going on, even if it doesn't have a positive effect. Okay. We have to secure the area. I will determine the order of patrols and changing the watch at night. Does anyone have any weapons? Goodness me, I doubt it. Captain, we are not a troop of soldiers. We will not become it, even under such a respectable command. Nonsense. The situation has turned all of us into soldiers, and the warriors need a commander. In that case, let's talk about who should take on this role. Less talking, more action. I take over the first watch, and at dawn, we will look for sharp stones and metal fragments, so that we can sharpen the perches and arrows. Okay, that's the end of the conversations. We now have an end of day summary, where we determine how the characters have kind of got on with each other during the day. It looks like Sir Edward Grey has not been very popular so far. He seems to like everybody else, but they don't seem to be too fond of him. Yeah, again, a little bit of dislike. So camp morale went down a little bit. We've discovered Maria is likeable. Character is the soul of the party. The friendship of other characters towards them increases constantly. But again, I guess that might be helpful as the game develops. The more friendly people are, the better they are to do tasks together, I suppose. Now we get towards the end of the day summary. We found one more thing out. Humbug. Edward Grey. Trust and friendship towards this character increase at first, but then they constantly decrease. Well, that's not going to be terribly helpful. Okay, so after this nighttime section, we get the strength for the next day. So as we can see, they all started out with 3 action points each, and 3 of the characters have gained 3 again. But Maria has dropped 1. That's due to the morale test. She's failed that. So I think it's because her character morale is quite low in comparison to the other guys. So she's lost 1 action point for the next day. Not the end of the world, but something we're definitely going to have to keep an eye on. Oh, she's easily dehydrated as well. Goodness me, she's weak. Easily dehydrated. I'm not sure what the advantage of Maria is right now. Anyway, that brings us through to day 2. As we can see, no disasters have befallen the camp overnight. No heavy snowfall. There's nothing to get broken or anything by rampant bears or wolves or whatever might be living out here. So, yeah, we're all set for another day tomorrow. Well, I hope you enjoyed this first little look through Help Will Come Tomorrow. I think we achieved pretty much everything we need to in the first day. We found out a little bit more about the characters. Maria, we're definitely going to have to keep an eye on. I think she's more of a burden than an advantage right now, but we'll see how that develops as the game goes on. If you did enjoy the episode, please drop a like on there for me. It helps me get seen by more people, of course. And if you've got any comments about this episode, the series, the game, any hints or tips you have for me, I would love to see them in the comments section below. And of course, if you're not yet subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. Come and hop on the Greeno bus, there is plenty of room for you all. It just remains for me to thank you for watching, and I will see you soon for day 2 of Help Will Come Tomorrow. Bye for now.